Okay, I think I am live. Now let's see if I can manage to get a link for y'all so that I can get the people that were on the wrong video to the correct video. Um, yeah. So, all right. So it looks like Kermit and Differs have found me. Hi, guys. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. Oi, technical difficulties. Yes, this is supposed to be watching me do art for, well, several reasons. One of which is that I was cleaning today. So I have been in contact with, and that's yesterday's art. Um, I have been in contact with a lot of dust, and I'm very itchy and rashy, and frankly, just don't feel like being on camera. And now, of course, the dog is going to play. So if you're hearing weird noises, hi Ben, hi Becky. Thanks, guys, for following me from one place to the other. Sorry about the madness and confusion today. Anyhow, yeah, it's been an interesting day. Um, and I'm a little discombobulated, but I thought what I would do is condense things into drawing on camera. And I've gotten all set up to do that. And the streaming software that I was using has decided that it's going to um, not work with my video card, or at least that's what the implication is uh, on the error code that it's throwing me, which probably means I will have to stop using the streaming software. It's not a huge loss. I mean, right now I'm just streaming straight through YouTube, and it seems to be functional. I can see the chat. I'm sorry about the head cold there, Kermit. Um, and the YouTube is able to pick up the webcam so that we can see this. So I can potentially, anyway, draw while you're watching me. Um, it's going to be a weird angle. I don't know how well this is going to work, and I will talk while I'm doing it. So today's prompt for art was chill haversack. And with a haversack being kind of a soft, shapeless backpack, and I've already done a hiking thing, but I still thought I would do something with hiking and possibly snowshoeing because that, I mean, I was trying to think of what to do with chill. So
Fill it full of ice and beer.
So I'm going to just start with a really rough sketch kind of the haversack, and then we'll figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of this because, eh, I mean, um, it's it's kind of one of those things of I'm kind of figuring it out as I'm going, which could be interesting given that it's drawing and talking at the same time. Don't know. I've never tried doing this. I have people that I know that do art streams. And so, in theory, this can be possible. Let's see here. I think we'll do bear paw snow. Well, we could do Michiganders. Why not? We'll do Michiganders. When I was snowshoeing, um, my preference were the bear paw and the Michiganders. The big Algonquins with the wood coming off both the front and the back are just really awkward to navigate in the snow. So um, that's not something that I want to attempt because I don't like hiking in it. So why would I draw somebody that was walking with it? Let's see here. Not sure which way. I'm trying to imagine the way the leg of the snowsuit or the pants creases here, and I think kind of like that. Honestly, I don't remember. It's been a long time. Um, So, and no guarantees on anatomy today because I am not looking at a reference. I am drawing this off the top of my head, and I am not that good at people. People, I cannot do people. Big old boots and the shoe. So, yeah, that's probably a good place to start. We'll give him a knitted wool cap with. Let's shrink him down a little bit so I can give him some more perspective of what's going on around him. That's the nice thing about digital drawing is I can do a sketch and then um, do all the things. So I can see why that would give you a heart attack, Dawn, that the hairdresser had to worry about that. Unfortunately, we did have to deal with um, lice with my kids a few times. So I know this pain. So, oh yeah, I could do the Norwegian cap. I like that idea. I was just going to give him a pom pom up there, but we can do this and a pom pom. So, bring it down. And then it's very ambiguous too, whether this is male or female. It can be whatever you would like it to be. So, kind of a little, could be a little Tomty guy here. Yeah. And I'll probably do trees off to the sides and just do a little bit of a path going there. I don't think I need to show it too much in front of him. The thing about this is I'm never quite sure how much detail I really want to do on these because sometimes I have the time to really sit and focus and draw all the shading and the different things. And other times, well, there's been a couple of times this week for those of you that have been following my art, and I can actually show it to you today. So this one took longer than you might think. Drawing the vines was super fast. Drawing all the little ants was not fast. That took me a lot longer because I was drawing ants like going up the vine, and I had a lot of fun with that one, but it took me a surprising amount of time to draw. The one that was super fast and easy though, because I was so tired, was the Hornet Clowns. Let's flip that around so you guys can see it a little bit better. Um, this one was pretty easy, fast. I mean, pretty clunky line work on that just because I wasn't sure how much longer I was going to last. Let me put it that way. I was really tired. So, yes, well, I mean, they could be killer bees, but the prompt was clown hornets. I'm also, if you hear me pause, it's because I'm reading the chat, and the way the chat is, I have to squint at it because it's far away from me. Anyhow, so yeah, there's days that I spend a lot of time on these, and there's days that I don't. Oh, so the story behind the giant mosquito. I'll flip that one around for you too. Oops, instant erasing there. What I did for the mosquitoes is Procreate works with brushes, and I have loads and loads of brushes, as you can see, more than I need. Um, but some of them do like a stamped texture. I'm looking for one that does kind of a stamped texture thing. So what I did to do the mosquitoes for the um, Joyous Mosquitoes prompt was I actually created brushes in Procreate, and I made mosquito brushes so that I could quickly and easily draw swarms of mosquitoes. And it was probably more effort than I really needed to go to for a piece of art, but it was fun and I enjoyed it. And just to show you really quickly what that looks like is so I have I'll figure out where I put it. Doo-doo-doo. Not there. Um, that's the problem is I have too much of these things, and there it is. Um, so I have three different mosquito stamps that I created, um, and they are really fun because basically they appear at random as I tap on the page, and they change aspects, and yeah, that was a blast to do. Um, and now I have these custom mosquito brushes that are kind of wonky looking, but they were fun to do. Um, so yeah, this is some of the craziness that I do when I'm drawing. Today, though, we'll go with the chill haversack and have him hiking in a winter wonderland. Fall has come to Texas, and we have had a very cool, wet, rainy day today, and it's been one of those days where I just wanted to stay inside. In fact, I don't think I've been outside at all today. I have been holed up inside where it's warm. Um, Hi, Alan. And I have been trying to do a couple of things. One of which was I forgot because I am a bad person. I forgot that um, I was going to publish a Halloween story. So the story behind the story here is that I oh, I don't like that brush. Sorry. You're going to get to watch me go through this process of picking the brush that feels right. I always feel a little bit like um, Anne of Green Gables in one of the later books. She talks about how she could only write love letters when um, the brush nib was just right. And sometimes I can only do art when the brush nib is just right, and I have to get it right before I really start to be able to lay down the ink here. And until it's right, I just will just sit here and go back and forth a little bit. Um, I'm going to give him a nice, thick, heavy collar here. Do a nice ribbed, knitted sweater collar. So, yeah, it was one of those days where I didn't want to go outside. I only work a half day on Fridays, which is lovely. And so then after the work day, I initially was like, yay, I can sit around and drink coffee. Not drink coffee, drink cocoa because Sanford made me cocoa. And that was nice until suddenly I realized that I was indeed forgetting to do something. I'm going to be drawing on lots and lots of different layers. So this is my layer selection here. And in order to keep myself from messing up badly on one, I usually draw on a ton of different layers. So if I want to change something quickly, I could just pull a whole layer and make it go away. So I'm puddling along this afternoon, and I was just lounging, and there was a couple of books that dropped on pre-order today that I have been really looking forward to. And so I was kicking back on the new couch and I was reading. And then suddenly it dawned on me that I actually had something that I really, really needed to do today, which was to get the Zombie Maggot stories formatted and up for publication. So I had a moment of, oh, I forgot completely. I'm going to have to edit these. It's been so long since I looked at the original Zombie Maggots. I don't even know how I'm going to manage this. And so I sat down and I pulled up the original story because I wrote the original Zombie Maggots story 10 years ago, exactly. I wrote it right after my very first LibertyCon, and I published it on my blog back then. And then I had pretty much just ignored that it existed until I was asked to consider contributing a story to the Trailer Park anthology of and that's what I wanted to do, was to revisit the Zombie Maggots world with the Trailer Park anthology. And so I wrote the second one 10 years almost exactly after the first one. I wasn't able to get the second one into Hillbilly for the Trailer Park anthology on time for the first Trailer Park anthology, which I was invited to join. And it did not make the cut for the second Trailer Park anthology. So unfortunately, I was wound up with a story that I didn't have anything to do with. I didn't know what I was going to do with this, which is why I wound up publishing a Halloween story this year, because I had the first one and I knew that I could do. I'm drawing in some nice little creases here because the haversack is a little bit softer, um, and I want to give it a little bit of that look, that almost kind of like pillowcase look that a haversack will have, that a full structured backpack probably wouldn't have. So drawing in some little wrinkles and tucks and pulls on it. A little bit of stitching here and there because I'm talking to you guys and I'm drawing at the same time. So I will look up occasionally and check the chat. But most of the time when I'm drawing, I'm looking down at what I'm drawing. I'm not good enough to draw without looking at what I'm drawing. So, Zombie Maggots. Zombie Maggots is available now for purchase, which astonishes me because I uploaded it at about 2:30 this afternoon. And it was available for purchase at just shy of 4 o'clock this afternoon, which means that it took just about an hour for that silly thing to publish. And I'm flabbergasted. That's got to be a record for me with Amazon, that it took that little time for it to want to publish. So I'm excited about it. It's out there. It's available. It is very different. Zombie Maggots is technically it is hard science fiction. Technically, very, very technically. The reality is it was me playing with a post-con story, and then when I revisited the silly thing, it was me playing with a trailer park in Alaska, and because I lived in a trailer park in Alaska. So that is one of those things where I actually was able to do a setting that was right out of my life, and I am kind of excited about the fact that I got to do that. It was a really fun thing to do. But it's also kind of one of those things of, ouch, what the heck?
She jumped out of
Please
my
don't
arms.
drop sharp things on me.
I didn't drop a sharp thing on you.
Well,
She
it
jumped
felt like
out
a
of
sharp
my
thing.
arms.
All right, well, I love you and I love the cat, but she does not love being on the back of my
She got down
chair.
herself. She can get down herself.
So I am not drawing a character from anybody's game. This is just me drawing something that was going to be chill haversack. And no, the cat does not like to be carried, and she likes to be dropped even less than she likes to be
She doesn't like
carried.
to be carried. She loves
Um,
being carried.
She does not normally like to be carried. I'm
Maybe
creating
not
it.
by you, but she cuddles up with me, purrs, and licks.
I am creating another layer here so that I can do the snowshoe because I expect to mess up the snowshoe. So,
She cuddles me when I carry her. I don't know what you're talking about.
all right. I don't want to. I just created a line I did not want. So make sure that goes away.
Should I work at Chuck E. Cheese? Should I apply to Chuck E. Cheese?
I think you would be absolutely frustrated with working at Chuck E. Cheese. So I have no idea how much any of this you guys can hear with all the noise that's going on in the background. But that's par for the course with my house. So if I press and hold with this pen, then it will automatically form a straight or a curved line depending on what I'm asking for it to do, which is how I'm going to make the wooden structure a little bit more even here than just me trying to freehand it. The fun thing is going to be when I start doing catgut. Speaking of cats attacking the back of my neck. So this still will take me a little bit longer. The interesting thing about editing Zombie Maggots today is that as I was doing the first story, which again, I wrote that 10 years ago. It was a story about an epidemic, and I realized as I was editing it that I was going to have to make some changes because we have now lived through a pandemic, and the reactions to the pandemic are not what I had predicted when I wrote the story. For instance, I wrote that they would never close the US down for a virus. I was wrong. I was so wrong. So I had to edit in some more plausible and realistic things into the story because I didn't know then what I know now, which is a really interesting after effect of editing a story 10 years on. It's not it's not it's not something you think about as an author. You don't think, oh gosh, I'm going to write this story and then 10 years later I'm going to edit it and be muttering at myself the whole time, I was so wrong. Oh, I was so wrong and it's so bad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in and I'm going to draw the boot on the other side of the the snowshoe, but I'm going to reduce my opacity so that I'm drawing a gray, a grayed out boot there rather than, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to change brushes entirely and I'm going to go to a watercolor and do a nice light, a glazy wash here. Because there you go. You'll see that how that gives the illusion of a shadow. And then I can come in and add a little extra darkness with that.
Can I speak about something weird?
Can you speak on something weird? Sure.
There's a GameStop at in Shepherd Air Force Base. In Shepherd Air Force Base, and they're hiring civilians.
Well, if you want to apply for the GameStop,
The GameStop won't hire till 18.
well then you, all right then.
It sucks. But Shepherd Air Force Base itself is hiring a lot of positions, but it's
I don't know that you're going to be able to work at Shepherd for
there's
doing
a cook
anything.
position at Shepherd Air Force Base. They're hiring a cook, a civilian cook.
I mean, I don't suppose there's a reason that you couldn't. So I used the watercolor brush to do the pom-pom on the end of his hat as well, because it gives it that fun little fuzzy look to it. And I'm going to go ahead and take away the sketch layer so you guys can get an idea of what I've got here, and I can take a look at it and see if I need to fill in any missing lines like that one right under the tassel. I'm not going to bother to go back and find the where that was. Let's see here. So the LB in front of this is Letty Blue, who's a Procreate artist that I follow, and I have bought. It would help if I were on the right thing. I have bought some of her brushes. She did a really nice ink and watercolor brush set. And even though I can make my own brushes, I'm by no means an expert. And yes, Mom, it does need its snowshoe. At this point, I'm going to start adding in details. I think I will probably. Oh, by the way, this is the thing that if any of you watch the blanket for it, you'll occasionally see Ian watching me. This is why, because I pinch and zoom and twist with the that's not right. That's not right at all. That's the nice thing about this is that I can make up my mind as I'm drawing that I need to try and add some perspective in there. I don't know. I don't know that that's convincing either. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Sort of. Doesn't look right, but that's okay. No, it's not okay. I don't know what I'm saying. It doesn't look right at all. Okay, coming out and up. There we go. That looks better. Because there's some foreshortening, but not that much foreshortening. So, put in the gut. And the line in between, because Michiganders are two, it's one bent, but there's two ends, tails, or at least mine had two tails. Right. So I can always pile snow over the top of it. Yes, sometimes Ian will field strip my pencil. I'm fine with this. It's a handmade pencil. He's not going to hurt it any. And when he gets really twitchy and needs to fiddle, I will actually hand him things out of my pencil case. Not this pencil, because this is not strippable and it's expensive, but I will hand him random things to play with. So... Yes, the snowshoe is not in the right position. I think maybe we'll pile snow over the snowshoe. How's that? I think that's a plan.
When did the QT stations opened? I don't know if you know. What is that? One of the business highways has a QT station in the building.
Okay.
I know because I was Googling it. There's not a QT station for like 100 miles or so.
Dude, right now might not be the time to do your job hunting talk with me. I will talk to you after the live stream.
This is perfect time.
No.
I have an entire group of people who can help me.
So, I have completely lost my train of thought in arguing with my son. Zombie Maggots is out and available. The cover image that you guys were commenting on with the live stream, the thumbnail, which is the one of the treehouse images from Midjourney, is actually related to the last book that I put out, which is the Treehouse book, and I'm assuming that everybody on the live stream is aware that it exists. It's not selling well, but I kind of figured it wouldn't because it's highly experimental. It's one of those things that I was like, let's see how this works. And it works about, I don't know, it's probably got a very interesting and limited audience, but it's I think something that will sell better in person to people who, when they can pick it up and investigate it for themselves. And I'm just going to do quick super shaky pine trees here. Ugh. And I'm really itchy, and my nose is itchy because allergies and all the dust. And even though I have showered and got the crap off of me, I'm still itchy. Uh, sorry, I'm going to grouch a little bit about that one. I'm just kind of like, ah.
So the cat up against you.
So-
See if one allergy will outdo the other.
No, one allergy will not outdo the other. Please don't. Ah. So yeah, the Treehouse book is out in paper. I'll probably give it some more promotion coming up to Christmas, because I think it'll be a good one for a stocking stuffer. It is definitely plausible to use it as an adult coloring book, and I think that it'll be a fun one for that. It's just that it is so out there and weird. The thing with the Treehouse book. Sorry, I'm trying to think about the drawing and talk to you guys at the same time. I cannot chew gum and walk at the same time either. So, but the thing with the book about the tree houses is that it's all Midjourney. It is generated completely 100%. The art is all Midjourney. And then I added commentary to it. And the conceit is that it is the sketchbooks of a fairy that I somehow got my hands on. And that was fun to do, was kind of put my own little commentary into that. And I don't know. I had a fun with that, but that was right at the beginning of when I was starting to mess around with Midjourney and figure out what it could and couldn't do. And it does tree houses really, really well, as you can see from my thumbnail. And I wish I could have done the book with all color. The problem with doing a complete color book is that it is hideously expensive to publish and sell. And I didn't want to
Make people spend $30 on a book.
right. I didn't want to make people spend $30 on an art book that was a highly speculative. I don't even know about this thing.
What you need to do is you need to buy your own printing press.
I am not going to buy my own printing press.
We can make Sandal Studios a good publishing house.
Sanderly Studios is a good publishing house.
Yes, but we could physically publish our own books.
Okay, at this point, I'm just going to have fun with this. I am going to do a little bit of shrubbery and grass and things poking up out of the. Oh, well, it would probably help if I went back to. There we go. It won't help. That's tiny. There we go. Things coming up through the snow in random places because it does that. Alongside the path. This is kind of my scribble details, but I have found that I can add a lot of depth and dimension to a landscape just with a few little scribbles and stuff. Because then what I'll do is I'll come back to these guys and I will give them their own snow holes. So snow melts around the base of vegetation, and you will find that it will cast little shadows where the snow has melted around the edge of the darker grasses and whatnot. And sometimes just a little bit for no good reason there. They do nice round one there for some reason. Just do that. A little bit of something coming up out of that hole. Yeah, so snow is interesting because it'll melt away from the sun absorbs in the heat into the vegetation, and then you'll wind up with a little hole in the snow that catches shadows. And since I'm not doing color, this is going to just be a difference in the value in the gray on it, which is how I will do any of the shadowing on this. Is just to do the little bit of gray, a little bit of shadow um, on the hat here, and we'll do the back of his head in a second. And I will do all of his hair. I'll do a nice uniform value for the hair, and then I will come back on top of that and add shadow from the hat. And the more layers I do, it's watercolor brushes, so it will give me more value added. It'll be a little bit darker, so you can see that how that's got a little bit of value there, added to what I'm doing here. Just a little shadowing in for various places. I don't usually spend a huge amount of time on this. I don't usually worry too much about making it perfect. I am not, I am so far from a perfectionist that it's not even probably funny, because I'm sure that it drives people crazy that follow my work and they're like, Cedar, you can be so much better. But that's okay. I do what I'm going to do. I tend to be very, oh, I don't know, slipshod, I guess, something. It's just the way I do things. I don't have the patience to sit here and spend too much time on it, because if I did, then I would get so bogged down in trying to make it absolutely perfect that oh, Don, uh that sounds like something that was good that he remembered that name there. And hopefully, if that's the case, then the person does not get to rent the house. And nice big shadow there for the bottom of the pack. Snowshoes at an awkward angle, but snowshoes are always at awkward angles. And this, I think I'm going to put more shadowing under the boot, because the heel of the boot is coming up, as the toe is where it's strapped to the snowshoe. So the heel is free from the snowshoe, and therefore will lift up as it walks away from the snowshoe. And I am going to have to do that on another layer, because at that point it'll just be, I'm lifting away. There we go. So yeah, I'm probably going to call it quits with that. Oh, let me turn it around so you guys can see it, because you were watching me draw upside down. So
Why don't you just flip the camera on this? No, that wouldn't work. Maybe?
Don, if you're wondering why your comment didn't show up at first, but it was because I had to show that. YouTube hides things for the strangest reasons. I don't completely understand it sometimes. And yep, this is. I mean, this started from a sketch layer, which was, and then I just added a ton of other layers to it. So I'm not gonna. I'm just kind of switching the sketch layer on so you can see some of what I was doing there with the sketch. And I stayed with the inking, I stayed pretty close to what I had for the sketch. Um, I don't usually sketch in any of the setting here. I think probably about the only other thing I could do would be to draw mountains up here, but I think I'll leave it uncluttered. I don't usually do huge huge amount of detail in these because the daily drawing um, is is fast. It's That's the point. It's not. I'm not spending hours on it. That would completely negate what I'm trying to do here because I don't have the time. And that's kind of the point too with the Inktober, which I do no Inktober, so Ninktober. But the point of it is to get you drawing every single day do um, is to do something every day to be creative, to get ink on paper, or in this case, ink on screen. And I draw every day anyway. So for me, when I do this, I'm trying to take it a little step further than I might otherwise. So I do take the time to do the shadowing and the shading. Um, Whereas next month, I will be working on the next and possibly final collaboration with Law Dog. And it will all be line art. So I won't necessarily do
Did you say
yes, possibly final because the only stories from Law Dog that I'm going to illustrate, we decided a while back that I'm not going to illustrate any of the law enforcement stories. So I'm doing the stories from his childhood. So unless I can talk him into writing some children's stories with me, then this next illustrated book with him will be the last of the illustrated books.
so? It's the last for the foreseeable future.
The last for the foreseeable future. There's some things in the cooking in the works. I mean, I would love to illustrate the teenage warlord story, but there are reasons that he can't tell that one in public just yet. So until then, that one will have to wait. But the next month we'll be illustrating the Law Dog tales, and this I don't think we have a title for the last one just yet. It will have Squeaks the Kusamats story in it, and it will have the Python Under the House story, and he is going to write some new material for me. It'll be the equivalent of a short story, but it will be new, never before seen in print material. And I'm going to have to get him to write that soon so that I can illustrate it by the end of the month, because the plan is to have it published in time for it to be given as a Christmas gift. So let's see here.
Before you go, I want to add
Yes.
one more thing.
Yes.
Our local Pizza Hut, the Pizza Hut in town,
Yes.
the owner of it, the franchise owner, is Pizza Hut of Southeast Kansas.
Okay. We're not that far from Kansas.
I find that funny. Our local Pizza Hut in town is owned by a company in Southeast Kansas.
The thing with me in art is that my first art media was actually clay, and I did sculpture. And then as an adult, I did face painting and body art and balloon twisting, which I suppose is technically sculpture, sort of ephemeral sculpture. So when I started working on paper, again, as an adult, I was in my 30s, I was working with face paints, and I was basically like, let me see if I can do this on the page the way I do on skin. Skin and paper, so different. It took me a while to adjust to that. And for me, it was I'm not good enough. I know I'm not good enough, but I'm too damn stubborn to give up. So I keep whacking away at it. And after doing this for so many years, I have been, I'm going to just move it so that I can show you guys some stuff. Um, yeah, and that's the thing, is not everybody is going to be this stubborn. I mean, I'm looking at, even this is just a couple years old and I'm already better than that. Um, and this was like when I was first experimenting with Procreate. And of course, my art also went through the phase of doing book covers. These are samples for a friend, showing cover comps for how they would look together as a series. And but those are Midjourney. Um, I do a lot of different things with it at this point, but it's taken me a lot of years of working at it every single day and being willing to fail and make messes. And sometimes just do colorways rather than, or just super simple things rather than trying to reach for the moon and stars and do really complicated art. It's there's things I start and then I never finish. I mean, I don't know where I was going with that one. That one was, and there's things that I do and I look at and I'm like, the concept here was really cute and I need to come back to it and do it again, but better, because it's one of those things of, I'm constantly trying to get better, to be better, and to bring my art to the next level. And some days I can manage that. And yes, it was a purple hippopotamus. I did a purple hippopotamus in watercolor on paper a few years back. So it's kind of one of those fun subjects that I come back to periodically. But I mean, at this point, like with the fantasy treehouse art and architecture, I did that from Midjourney. But the reality is that the art in that, the line art in that, I could do. I have the skills to do that. It would take me a year to create that art because it's a lot more detailed than my usual stuff. But I could do it, and it's with close enough to my own personal style that I thought it would be a fun art book to put out. Now, um, after this month, while I'm working on illustrations for the next Law Dog book, during November, I will put out an art book slash coloring book that will be all my own work. And it will be this year's Inktober, and probably the last 2 years, I will select my best of. There's things I'm not going to include in there. I want it to be a showcase of my work, of my line art, because at this point I'm a professional illustrator and I like the idea of having um, a portfolio piece out there. I mean, it appeals to my ego. Um, so I am, I never intended to focus this much on art. This has been, art started as a sanity check for me, as a daily, um, let's do this and have fun with it and make mistakes and sometimes just create silly cute things for the sake of creating silly cute things. And it's been a fun journey, and one that has landed me in places I never expected to go. I mean, I started doing the Chewini drawings as a way to just goof off. I mean, I was looking for I was looking for things that I could do. Oh, here we go. Speaking of silly, um, I was looking for things that I needed I needed daily prompts, and the Chewini stories gave me that. And things like somebody making a crack about crab raccoons gives me drawing ideas. I mean, I've got one I want to draw, and I don't know when I'm going to find time, but I want to draw a soapbox that sneaks up and ambushes people, and all of a sudden you find yourself up on your soapbox ranting about something. So the idea of a soapbox with lots of little tiny legs that can pop out and like suddenly be underneath somebody, that tickles me, and I want to draw that. Uh, but it's at this point, it's one of those things that I am booked for. Yeah, absolutely, a mimic soapbox. I'm booked for illustrations through the end of the year, which is a strange thing to say, but it nonetheless is true. October, of course, was Nicktober, and in November we'll be working on the next Law Dog book, with possibly a couple days off to do passion projects, personal projects, sick days. Although these days when I feel about when I'm not feeling up to making art, I have Midjourney, and I can create something fun with Midjourney, because you guys see the tip of the iceberg with my Midjourney stuff. I literally have well over 3,000 images I've generated with Midjourney at this point. So, and I'm not going to share them with everybody because some of them aren't all that great, because you iterate over and over and over with Midjourney until you finally come up with something that you like, or you hit and it's just totally random and it's perfect the first time out of the box. It seems like there's no in between. Mark, I'm glad you made it anyway, even if you were running late. So for November, doing the Law Dog book. For December, really exciting project. I am doing illustrations for my cookbook and for a cookbook for a friend. Actually, Crab Raccoon may go to him as an illustration for his cookbook, because I know, since his cookbook is going to be focused on Louisiana, I know that there will be some crab recipes, or at the very least, crawfish recipes in his book. But my cookbook, I'm hoping to get it done in time for sometime in the spring of 2023. I need to be writing fiction right now, but if the fiction brain is switched off, at least the art brain is functioning. That and cookbook illustrations is going to be, it's going to be different. I haven't yet decided whether I will go with more classic illustration styles, or what I'm going to do. I don't know. I do know that it will be a black and white interior illustrations for the cookbook, because otherwise it will be ridiculously expensive, and I don't want to do that to the people that want to buy it. I mean, there might be an audience for a cookbook that's $25, but I doubt it. I would rather have a cookbook that I can sell for
$25 cookbook. That's what we bought for the Fallout one before.
Yes, but that Fallout has a much larger audience than I have. Much larger. I don't have that kind of audience. And I think that having a big 8.5 by 11 black and white illustrations cookbook with lots of anecdotes and recipes and just some fun stuff in there. I remember growing up with the Carla Emery cookbook, which Mom may remember. She's the first one where I saw the recipe for the you stuff the turkey with popcorn and put it in the oven until its butt blows off when the popcorn pops. And also she had the recipe for stuffed camel that involved stuffing a lamb inside of a camel. But I digress. I don't remember anything else about the cookbook other than it was black and white, had fun little line art illustrations, and those 2 recipes were just absurd enough to tickle my fancy. So I remember that. And that's kind of what I'm shooting for, what I want to do with my cookbook. And so that's a big project, and it's going to require a lot of illustrations, and I'm going to get started on them in December. My dad has requested that I do the Alaskan 12 Days of Christmas as a full color coloring book, and kind of like how I did the cute moose for my sister's Christmas presents a while back, I will also be doing the 12 Days of Christmas for my dad. Dad has some serious health issues going on, and when he asks me to do something, I'm gonna do it if it's at all possible for me to do it. And yeah, so that'll be happening. So Kermit, I actually think it was David Bach that gave me the crab raccoon. But I think there was enough silliness going on that it could have been any of you. Botox Camel was definitely you. That was all you. The look on Ian's face. Well, folks, now that I have gone over plans and thoughts and whatnot, I appreciate you all coming, and I am oh yes, the logo for the League of Conspicuous Evil, that's also my work. I was pretty pleased with this one, actually. I liked how this came out. Yeah, Zombie Maggots is live and it's out there, and it's a little bit horror, a little bit humor, and a lot of science fiction. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you do buy it and read it, or if you read it on Kindle Unlimited, please leave a review. Momentum is everything on a book release, and I would like for this one to do well. I really would. And it's been 10 years in the making. And so thank you all for the support that you've given me to keep me going for these last 10 years. You noticed that, Ben. Now you see why I draw when I'm when I'm listening to the blanket fort, and I'm not on camera because I can draw. Well, folks, thank you for coming and listening to me. I will talk to you all next week, and hopefully by then I will have news to share on how well Zombie Maggots did. So, talk to you all later. Bye.